What's up, guys? I just want to give you a quick disclaimer before we start this interview with Aesha. She gives the most amazing, wild stories from being a deckhand on yachts for so many years, working up and close with some wild, rich people. Anyway, so the stories that she gets into about drug use and incest and hookups and all that kind of stuff, just want to make it clear, those were throughout her career, not while filming Bravo's Below Deck. So, anyway, just understand that. I don't want anyone thinking this was during Below Deck filming because we don't want Bravo all up in our business. All right, hope you enjoy it.
Oh, I thought I was going to burp. Sorry. No, it's gone. Hello, I am Aesha Scott from Below Deck Down Under, and I am here on the Hollywood Raw podcast, and I am telling you the craziest things that I have seen in my yachting career. So make sure you give it a listen.
Hey guys, welcome to the Hollywood Raw YouTube page. Make sure you drop a comment, like, subscribe.
Do all the fun things.
Follow
everything. We're here to entertain you guys.
What are you waiting for? Hurry up, let's go.
Enjoy. Aesha, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We love having just Bravo stars on the podcast. We get some of the biggest reactions because everyone loves Bravo shows. And, I don't know what it is. What's the magic about Bravo shows? But what do you hear the most out there from people? What is it that they love about Below Deck?
I think what people love about Below Deck so much is that there's something in it that's relatable for everyone. Because we're just normal people actually just doing our jobs, and we're doing service jobs, which so many people work in. So they watch the show and they're like, oh, I've had a customer like that. Oh, I've had a colleague like that. And then you top it off with gorgeous views, gorgeous people generally. I mean, I don't mean to speak for myself, but drama, sex, like how a boat works. There's just something in it for everyone. And you're right. Bravo fans are so passionate and so full of love. It's wonderful.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because, I was just in New York and BravoCon was here and I was at the hotel, and you see the way people react to these Bravo stars and how like it's part of their life. And it's not just one series. It's not just one franchise like the Housewives of Salt Lake City. It's the whole culture. So let me ask you, why do you think that Below Deck and that franchise did well, and sometimes another franchise, comes to Bravo and doesn't do well? Like what's like the niche? If you were like a Bravo executive, what do you find, like, as from the outside looking in, what do you see that's kind of working for Bravo as a show?
That's a really good question, because I think you're right. I think there's something about Below Deck that just hooks people in. And I truly believe it's all down to the production team, because when you are filming the show, it is absolutely insane because they have got 24/7 cameras running in every single room. Plus they've got cameramen running around capturing everything as well. So you've got 6 weeks of 24/7 footage. And they somehow take that and cut it down into this really watchable story where they follow interesting storylines. And when you're in it, you're like, there are about 600 storylines that they could follow, but they somehow know what storyline to choose, what music to chuck in there, what transitions to use. And it comes together as this magic ball of just talent. They're so incredible.
So how long were you working on boats or yachts, or however you refer to the floating vessels that you work on, before the Bravo opportunity came around?
So I'd already been working on boats for about 6 years, maybe 5.5. But I'd always wanted to be on TV ever since I was little, and all of my girlfriends knew that back home, and one of them actually was in yachting as well. And I didn't actually know about the show at the time, and she messaged me one day out of the blue and was like, I've got the email for the casting director, you'd be absolutely amazing at this. And so I sent them a video. You had to fill in an application form, and I thought, bugger it, it's too generic, I'll send them a video. And literally 30 minutes later, they emailed back and said, please, like, we need to have an interview with you.
Wow.
And I think it was just so exciting because I hadn't seen the show. I didn't realize how bloody huge it is. It is so big. And it was just so serendipitous, the timing, and I feel really lucky it came about.
Yeah. So when you said they had to have a meeting with you, was that like your audition meeting after you sent the video? Was it a Skype meeting or was it in person? Did they fly you out to like come to New York and meet with them, or how did it go down?
No, that would have been lovely for my air points build up. No,
I get it. I get it.
No, I just did a Skype with them. I did one in New Zealand when I was there on holiday, and then you kind of go through rounds as you work your way up through, you do it with the casting agents and then a couple of producers, and then the final one is doing it in front of a board with all the executives, which is very scary. So all of them were through Zoom.
And so when they say, okay, you've got the gig, you're going to be helping out, you're going to be on the show, my question is, do you go into this show with an idea of what you want to be perceived by the audience? Like, I want to be the nice person, or I want to come in with like, some scandal. Like, how does that all unfold? Because I got to think a lot of people kind of prepare their persona, especially on reality TV.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, the people that do that are the ones that no one likes, because you see right through it. Like, I think for me, I think I'm one of the only cast ever to have gone on the show and not bothered watching any of the show. Like, I truly hadn't watched one episode when I came on board. And so I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And I've always been so myself and such an open book that I just, I was typical Aesha and just went at it with everything. And it worked in my favor because I think people could tell that I was very genuine and very real. But I've definitely, you do get cast members that come on and they're so conscious of how they come across. Like, they'll start to say something and then their eyes will dart across to the camera and they're like, oh nah, don't worry. And those people, they never do well because the fans, you see them commenting and they're like, who is this person? Like, we can't get a gauge on them. 1 week they act like this, the other week they act like this. So I just think you just need to go in and be yourself.
100%. I honestly don't think I would have made a good reality star for the first 30 years of my life. I feel like I just wasn't comfortable. Like, I really, like, I think after 30 and into your, like, I just turned 40, but I feel like I really am confident with myself and just who I am at this point in my life. And I think that's when people make good reality stars. I would have not made a good reality star at the age of 20. Like, I was too concerned about what people thought.
Get in your own head.
And
it's just like get you in your head.
Like, no one really would have been, because we all care too much about what our peers think. But I think that's the beauty of getting older, is you realize that it doesn't fucking matter what anyone thinks. Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that.
No, it's fine.
How fucking dare you pass our podcast?
And it doesn't matter what people think. And yeah, you're right, those people make the best. And I think that's why the housewives are so amazing, because they're all X amount older and they just don't give a shit. You can tell they really don't.
So what makes you, like, obviously you're very good on the show. You're great, you're charismatic, you're great to look at. But what's the benefits of going on the show? Is it like, are you getting more work to work on more yachts because people want you because you were on the show? Like, what are some of the benefits you've gotten since being on the show, besides having like people recognize you and get to make some money on Cameo? How else does it affect you within the industry, or does it even like hurt you in the industry? Because some of these people are like such, they could be snooty. They have so much money. Like, they don't want that sort of attention. Like, how has it affected your life besides like the fans?
So, one thing that I love to rub in yachties' faces is that it does actually help you, because the culture is definitely changing now, but when I first started Below Deck was very looked down on in yachting, and yachties hated it. They thought it was so embarrassing, and if they found out you went on it, they would just rip the shit out of you. And everyone's like, oh, well, good luck ruining your career, which I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be a fucking waitress on the sea until I'm 50. Like, what? I don't care that I'm ruining my career. But honestly, since I started this show, people want you on the boat more because people are such big fans of it that captains catch wind or a chief stew catches wind, and they're like, oh, we've got a guest coming on that absolutely loves you. Would you like to come on and be, you know, like one of our stewardesses just for this trip or something? So definitely hasn't hurt my yachting. And then in terms of relating to me and my goals, I mean, I still love yachting and I want to keep doing it for another couple of years. But my dream is to host TV shows. It's been my dream for years and years. So for me, it's, you know, it's given me a following. It's allowed me to get a beautiful publicist and you know, an agent and all this team around me that's helping me to grow and hopefully get to my goal one day.
That's awesome. And where do you feel like is the biggest audience for Below Deck? Is it here in America? Is it in Europe? Is it New Zealand? Like, where do you walk around that you get recognized the most?
Definitely here in America. Like, even in Breckenridge, it's this tiny ass town up in the mountains, and every time I leave the house, you know, it's like, ah! Which is really cool. And New Zealand, it's definitely growing. Like, I do get recognized there, but just not quite as much. But I think that might also be because Kiwis are not there's not really a celeb culture there, so Kiwis don't really like to say hi to people.
I get it.
And then it was interesting because in Australia, we obviously filmed season 2 in Australia, and I noticed there was a lot more hype around us being there and people running up to us the second time we were there. So it's definitely growing around the world, but still number one in the States.
Okay.
So now that you're on the show, and then when you go back to yachting, are you able to ask for more money? Not from Bravo, I'm saying from clients. Like, are you say, hey, listen, I'm sort of like this celebrity person in the yachting community. Are you making more money from your regular job?
You know what? I haven't actually used that flex yet. I kind of like, I think because I'm so experienced, I kind of demand a bit more money anyway, because I've been doing it for now it would be 8 years, which is is very experienced for a stew. So I kind of don't need to pull that card. And I still do temp work on yachts, but it would be the least amount of my work for the year would be the yacht work.
Okay.
Yeah. So I honestly basically live off cameos. It's the best thing that ever happened
That's
to me.
awesome.
I get to just say happy birthday and I get some cash in my account. It's so sick.
That literally, though, is enough to pay your bills?
Yeah, absolutely. I get a really decent amount from it.
That's pretty awesome.
But I'm lucky.
Are we talking over $100,000 a year on just Cameo?
I don't want to disclose all of my financial information, but
well, that was just an over or under. That's easy.
I actually don't even know because I don't really keep an eye on it. All I know is that it definitely keeps me afloat. But I think cool. As well, I'm very lucky because I'm a massive freeloader, and I haven't paid rent for years, so I don't really.
So that's our Cameo. You don't have rent; it doesn't count.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's just play money.
So
I want to know because I want to get into the actual filming aspect of Below Deck. I want to know, are you guys filmed 24/7? Anytime you're up, cameras are on. Do you guys get downtime? I find this so fascinating to see how the inner workings go on.
Yeah, so we film for. It ends up being about 6.5 weeks straight. Literally no days off. every single day, day after day after day, like minimum 16-hour days, and we are watched like 24/7. The only time we're not watched is when on turnover day. That is the hardest day because we've got to turn the whole boat over. Like people are like, oh, they must have people coming on to do things, but we clean the whole boat ourselves. Plus we have to get taken off one by one for about 4 hours to do our like confessionals. And so we've got to do that and the boat work all in one day. It's so exhausting. But yeah, they have the morning shift and the night shift, and then they always leave a camera guy to stay on overnight in case one of us, gets up at 5 a.m. and tries to sneak into someone else's cabin or something. They need a big camera to stick around. But yeah, we're just watched always, unless we're in the bathroom. But if two of us go into the bathroom, they make us open the door.
Really? That's a rule, so that they can get your conversation?
Yeah, because a lot of the times, like if someone's having a full meltdown, they'll run to the bathroom, and then the doting friend or whatever will run in after them, and they're like, give us some space, and they're trying to have like this meltdown in the bathroom. But from Bravo's point of view, that's like absolute gold. So
yeah.
And you've signed a thing saying that you consent to it. So yeah, you can't. I don't know. I find it annoying when people try and run away from cameras because I'm like, you've signed up to be here. They're trying to make a show. Like, don't make it difficult for them.
See, here's what I would make it difficult. I feel like I would always talk to the camera guys. They're just standing there. It's just me. Like, I cannot help myself but talk to them or fuck with them. I'd be fucking with them all day. Like, I feel like I would like pants them or something like that, or just mess with them.
Yeah.
Like, are you allowed to talk to them? Like, what are you allowed to talk to them, or what's the vibe like with them?
No, God, no. It's like such a strict fourth wall. You're not allowed to acknowledge them, and they get really pissed off. Well, not so much the camera guys, but everyone sitting in the control room watching gets really pissed off. And if people do it too much, then like they've kind of got to call a meeting and be like, you guys, like it's fourth wall. The only time that I like, because I'm such a goody-good. I follow all the rules. The only thing that I do like is every now and then what the camera guys will do is if you do something really funny, they'll purposely do like a little laugh because that kind of eggs you on and it feeds you. And then you like get more and more into being silly or into your joke.
I get it. Yeah.
That I appreciate.
No, that would definitely egg me on a little bit to keep going. Do you do all your Bravo contracts? Like when it comes to like the next season of you doing it, do you negotiate or do you have someone do it for you?
I do it myself. I honestly, I'm so proud of my growth. I've been trying to be more of a man in business, so to speak. Like I feel like my first like 3 seasons, I was just way too nice and just kind of went with the general thing. And this last season, I kind of put my foot down a bit, and it's a learning process. Negotiating's a tough skill.
Yeah,
absolutely. Now, good for you. Good for you being able to do it because it's scary, especially in reality TV, because they make it seem like, oh well, you're just replaceable. We don't need to go with your demands or whatever you want. Like we'll just find the next stew out there to fill your shoes. Bye.
Oh my gosh.
Even if you're great on TV.
Thank you. But I know it is scary because there is the possibility, like there's so many people there waiting to do what you're doing. So they've got someone if they want it. I guess what I just have on my side is because I've been a fan favorite for a while, I know that I do draw viewers in. So that's kind of like my power card. But it is scary. You send off the email and you're like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. And also, though, I mean, a lot of it is because I feel like I can do it myself and I'm trying to hone that skill a bit. But also it's because I'm just such a tight ass. I'm a freeloader and a tight ass. So it's like, I don't want to give someone commission or a cut of negotiating for me if I can do it myself.
Yeah. Have you had, like when negotiating with them, has it gotten to that point where it gets really kind of sticky where you feel like you might lose out on the opportunity of doing the show again and they kind of say, all right, this is the last straw? Has it gotten to that point when negotiating? Because You know, I can imagine it gets really scary.
It has, and like, you know, everyone wants to get as much as they can, but I also am like, this show is so big and it's given me so many other opportunities. And, you know, even just as I said, Cameo that I live off, like I get so much from it that I'm kind of not as worried about getting every fucking penny that I could, because, you know, obviously I want to get paid well, but I'm content with everything else that comes with it.
Absolutely. So tell me, when you're on the boat and you guys are living off the food on these yachts, is it good food? Are you enjoying it? Like, is it good meals that you're looking forward to, or are you just over the food by now?
Well, yeah, it all depends on the chef. So whatever chef we have, that depends on how your food is. So, I mean, we're not supposed to talk about Ryan, but I basically didn't eat for the whole season. We got fucking nothing. So, you know, maybe a sandwich every second day if we were lucky. So it just depends on who you have. Yeah. I mean, same with when we had Mila in season 4 of The Med, the Russian homophobic Putin loving chef. And she was, because she was Russian, I feel like every day she cooked us boiled vegetables. And you know how Russians cook vegetables for so long that they're basically not even a foodstuffs anymore? So she just put these plates of like...
I haven't had a lot of Russians cook for me, but I'll trust you on it.
Don't let them, honestly. They cook broccoli for so long, it like you wouldn't know what it is.
That's funny.
But you know, but then we had Nate come on at the end of season 1, and he was fantastic. He gave us so much food, it was insane.
That's awesome.
So it's, yeah, you just gotta hope you have a good chef.
Well, because some of the chefs come on and they're kind of like, oh, so is Bravo like ordering you guys lunch? And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, we're literally, this isn't a fake simulation. Like, we're literally here working on this boat. You need to feed us. And I think people get the wrong idea and they think that Bravo's going to like get the crew takeaways, or you know, I've heard of some of the cast going on and being like, oh yeah, time to start work. Wink, wink. And they're like, no, like you're actually working. And they're like, oh yeah, working, wink, wink. It's like, no, none of this is fake. You're actually doing it.
Yeah. So well, funny. How much nudity do you see on these yachts? Like, do you ever see some people from your experience, not just the show? I'm saying, like, I gotta feel like some of these people are so wealthy, and I see it in New York, like they're so wealthy, like they'll just do anything. Like it's weird shit. Rich people are fucking weird. Have you seen like people who just want to be?
That is so weird. I have seen some things that I should not have seen, and I mean, Steve can jump in here if I'm not allowed to tell this because I've been told off before. But I remember the first boat that I worked on. It was this really confusing dynamic where a father and his daughter came on, and then her boyfriend came with her. And I couldn't figure out what was going on because she kept sitting in one of their laps and then sitting in another lap. And it was just confusing. And anyway, they all went to the front of the boat, and they asked for some cocktails before they went to the bow, and they were sunbathing on the bow. And I think they must have forgotten that they asked for them, and they were pretty pissed. And I walked around the corner with this tray of cocktails, and the biological father, we looked into it, we checked, we looked at passports, we looked at records. The biological father had his head in between the daughter's legs, like about to pull her panties aside, kissing all in it. And I was just... I know! I know! And I walked down the corner and I audibly went, because I was so shocked, and and then one of my cocktails tipped over on my tray because I jolted so hard, and they just looked up and both of them started screaming at me like, fuck off, go away, go away, go away. And the weirdest part was that my boyfriend lying beside them watching it. it was just so weird.
That might top it. Malia White came on. She said that she saw like orgies. She's seen a couple orgies where she'd go upstairs to the top deck and they'd have like a light. What was it? What did she say, Adam? They had like a light that they would turn on, which meant like don't come up here.
Don't come
and
up,
they
or like
forgot
that means
to
like
turn the light on. And she walked up and was like, "Oh, it's a full-on orgy. Awesome."
Oh my God. Yeah, it's just, I truly, the richer people get, the weirder they get. And after all my years, I think they get so rich and have so much at their disposal that regular pleasures get boring to them and they have to really think outside the box. I mean, that one was really outside the box.
It's true.
To go there. But
I can't wait to get that rich so I can be weird as fuck, guys.
Oh, so
I'm gonna bring it on. No, not my daughter, but I'm gonna be a weird fucking rich guy one day. Hopefully, cross your fingers.
Well, I hope that you get there. I won't be attending your orgies, but I do wish you all the best. But honestly, I watch these people on these boats and I'm like, I've got no desire to be any of you. It always just, I know it's so fucking cheesy, but I always watch them and I'm like, thank God I'm in my position, you know?
Yeah, no, it's funny. I feel like rich people, like, I don't know if we're going to get into the, all right.
Get into it, Adam. Do it.
You know what's so crazy? So I can't even say this.
Do it.
It's
Just
really rough.
say it.
Do it. Just spit it out.
Well, I just saw this celebrity.
She just told us how a dad went down on his daughter. Come on, spit it out, Adam.
Jeez. No, I just saw a celebrity who's a billionaire just show up to a hotel, 3 SUVs deep, with all his buddies, which is so cool. And the hotel staff, and this is like, a very high-end hotel in New York City, like they're just like waiting outside with all the room keys and just like have it all ready for them. And I was like, man, this is like, what a life. Like, how wild is this? Like, you just show up with all your buddies in 3 Escalades on a private jet, get driven right to this, 5-star hotel in New York City, and then like everything's there for you and ready to keep the party going. Like, it's another world.
So gangster.
I know, it's pretty cool. It's not bad.
I would want that. I'd want that.
Yeah, but I also think with you though, like I gotta imagine they're in the middle of the ocean. The weather's perfect. What's better than to skinny dip? Are people just skinny dipping all the time?
Oh yeah, 100% all the time. And I have seen so many stunning naked bodies. Oh my God. I will say that like it is nice being a stewardess on a super yacht because I mean, not that I'm saying this is the ideal body type, but we get a lot of models on and you just look at them and you're like, my God, you're attractive, you know? And it's nice doing housekeeping because you get to look through all their clothes and touch all these nice fabrics and sniff their panties. And it's just...
Do you see a lot of, I don't know if we want to, I mean, I got to imagine over the years of you doing this job, you have to have seen like a lot of prostitutes.
Yes. Yeah.
And how does that work? Is it just awkward? Is it weird? Are they winking at you like, save me? Like, what happens?
No, because save me, I've been taken from my country. No, it's usually, I mean, and unless you were kind of organizing their logistics, you wouldn't even know they were prostitutes because these people are getting like very high-end escorts. So they kind of just look like their model friends that they maybe picked up at a bar or something. So a lot of the time you just don't really know. I remember this Russian boat that my friend worked on. The father and the son both had a fetish for slamming chicks while they were on their period. And so what they used to do is they would work with this agency and they would send them 4 prostitutes that all had their period at a different time of the month. So each week they'd go do like a month charter and each week they had a different girl that was bleeding that they both just fucked for that week.
Oh,
that is insane.
Okay,
never
mind. I don't want to be a
no.
rich
Well,
weirdo.
the thing is, yeah,
weird. This is what I'm saying,
too
they get
weird.
so weird.
I pictured we would talk about weird rich people and you just give us like all these like crazy drug stories, because like I think when I go to Hollywood clubs, I walk into the bathroom and people are doing lines off the sink. Like it's just,
Yeah.
I see it happening. So I have to imagine when they're on a boat and they're out in the middle of nowhere and there's no one watching over, they're not worried about getting caught. Is that where you see a lot of drug use too out there?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yep. You see it all the time. It's just like stacked everywhere. But obviously it's one of those things where you kind of, I mean, obviously you're not meant to on the boat, but you've got these people paying so much money, everyone kind of just turns a blind eye. And then, and crew have it sometimes too. Like I remember, well, sometimes, all the fucking time. But I was working on this boat once and we had where the sniffer dogs come on, and when and there was no, usually you get warning, but there was no warning this time. And one of the guys on the boat that was kind of like notorious for always having a stash. You just see him, they say the dogs are coming on, he just starts dripping in sweat and he sprinted to his cabin, got his whole stash of powder, opens the portholes, chucks them out the window. And then anyway, dogs come through, everything's fine. We leave port and we come back. And when we came back in, he knew where he chucked it out. And so he got all of the dive gear on and went back down and went and got it.
And it was still okay?
And it was fine. Absolutely fine.
That guy's got a problem. We got to talk to him. Yeah.
I know. I never bothered having anything. So I was like, you never know when you're going to have a urine test. Did dogs come on? It's just, for me, it's just not worth it.
And now, are people not like, and again, I'm assuming some of these stories were not when you've been filming with Bravo, but do people get nervous when the Bravo camera's around that they could get caught skinny dipping or doing drugs or doing any of these things, or do they kind of start to forget about it as guests?
So it's so interesting because you would think that if you were coming on a show and you knew you were coming on for literally it's 48 hours. They get on lunchtime one day, a middle full day, get off lunchtime the next day. So 48 hours. You like, for me, I'm like, you would think that you would try and behave yourself a little bit because you know it's going on a show that's going to be showing like literally worldwide. But I think people get so nervous and they give them champagne when they're waiting to do their walk down the dock and come onto the boat. And so usually by the time people arrive, they're already pretty hammered. And then I'm very swift about getting as much alcohol into them as possible because I want an earlier bedtime. And so they spend pretty much the whole time absolutely fucked off their face. And they just make an absolute fool of themselves. And they're so wasted they don't realize, but I bet you all of them go to the hotel afterwards and just sit there and think, oh God, what have I done?
Have you had
so funny.
Have you had any experience with pirates while being out there?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Did you know that I have? Have I told this story?
No, I had no idea.
I didn't know.
Oh, well, yeah, I have. So we were off the coast of Cuba. Oh my goodness, it was so exciting. I wish more happened because it was such a thrill. But I was up in the bridge. I don't know why I was up in the bridge. I think I was just up there hanging with the boys. And anyway, I just noticed it started to get a little bit tense. And it was the captain or the second officer was looking through binoculars. He'd just been doing like a round. And he looked through binoculars and he noticed this little boat coming towards us. We call it a dinghy. I don't know if you guys call it a dinghy.
Yeah, a dinghy.
A little tin boat coming towards us, and it was, going over the waves. Vroom, vroom, vroom. And anyway, we were at anchor, so all of the engines were off, and you just see him turn and look at us, and he's like, fuck. And he was like, take a look. And I looked through these binoculars, and coming towards us in this little tin dinghy was all of these dudes with AK-47s. And it was, you didn't realize it for a while because when they'd go up a wave, there was only 3 of them standing. And then it wasn't until they would crest and come back down the other side, you saw that there was about 11 more of them lying in the bottom of this boat, all of them with AK-47s just hooning towards us. And the thing with big boats when they're turned off is you've got to, radio the engineers, get the jennies going, get this going, blah, blah. And so it kind of takes about a good 10 minutes for the, from when you tell them to get going to when you can actually move. And so immediately they were like, all the women, all the girls to the crew mess, every stewardess to the crew mess. So they got all of us girls to the crew mess, locked us in there. On these boats, you only have one gun on board. It's like a handgun locked away in the bridge. A lot don't even have any. So we had no guns. They just had a little handgun. So what the guys did is all the deck crew had to go to the aft deck to start the armed forces. And so what they did is they rolled out all the fire hoses down the side so that if they did get to us and try to come on board, you can turn the fire hoses on and they're so strong that it would probably blow them back off. And then they went to the recycling, like where we keep our recycling, and they were running to the aft deck with these buckets and buckets of all these glass bottles, and they were smashing the glass bottles so that the end came off so they could use them to stab them if they did manage to come aboard. So it was all like this mass panic. But that's where the excitement of the story ends, because then the engineers got the engines going and we zoomed off into the sunset. But I quite liked my little taste of the risk.
That's crazy. So like when you guys took off, the dinghy just can't keep up at that point, or they think it's not worth it?
Yeah, well, the size of boat that we had, like, there's no way they would have been able to keep up with us. So, yeah.
Wow, that is so
crazy.
crazy.
So insane.
It's a very real threat, and they often target super yachts because they obviously know, it's very luxurious on board. And even if you don't have guests on, there's always, a shit ton of cash in the safe. There's bottles of wine that are $500 worth. There's, crystal glasses. They can still take a bunch of stuff that's worth something.
So crazy. When you're on a boat for this long, do you not get seasick? Like, is there a time when you guys hit some big waves that you start to feel nauseous or anything?
I only have, when I first started yachting, I used to get really seasick, and but I thought that I'd get fired if I showed that I was. So for the whole first week, it was like that scene in Bridesmaids where she's talking to the other woman and she's trying to pretend she doesn't have food poisoning and she's just dripping with sweat. And that was me with the guests the whole first week, just dripping. I remember I would sanitary pads and stick them to my polo to kind of soak up all the sweat that I was letting off. But then for some reason after a week, it's like a switch went off and I just didn't get seasick anymore. But the thing that fucked me off so much was when you knew there was going to be really big swells, and especially if we've been drinking the night before, you would just take a seasickness tablet just to be safe. And then you'd get these girls, every bloody boat has them. You get these girls who they haven't taken a seasickness tablet, and then they're like, I'm so sick, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go lie down, I can't work. And you're like, well, did you take a tablet? And they're like, no, I don't believe in taking tablets. And it's like, oh my God. So because you don't believe in taking tablets, now we all have to do 3 times the work so you can just go lie in bed and be sick. Like, it makes me so mad.
At least put the wristbands on or something. Try if you don't believe in tablets.
Yeah.
At least pretend you're trying, like we would all love to go and do nothing in rough seas, but it's like, don't work on a boat if you can't handle it.
It's such an interesting gig what you do. It's like one of those jobs before the show. I didn't even know it existed. I'm not gonna lie. Like it sounds, maybe it's just weird and I'm just so middle class that I had no idea that this life existed. Like that, like how do you, like, where do you apply for something like this?
Well, honestly, so many people didn't, and the show is what's brought awareness, and there's been such a huge influx of people trying to get into this industry, because when I first started, we only knew one girl in my hometown, or really in the country of all the people we knew, I only knew one girl that was doing it. And my sister actually found out about it, and she called. We were both working jobs that we didn't like, and she called me one day and she's like, "Have you heard about this yachting thing?" And I was like, "What are you on about?" And she told me about it, and it sounded so wonderful that we both quit our jobs that day, did the course 2 weeks later, and then flew to France 2 weeks later. And now it's almost like a rite of passage in our hometown to come and do yachting. Everyone does it. So I'm lucky I started when I did, because there was competition, but a lot less. But yeah, if you want to get into it, you've got to go and do a 2-week STCW course where you do firefighting, water survival, first aid, security, social responsibilities, all these things. And then you do a medical, and then you've got to do food and hygiene course online if you want to be inside. And then you just have to go and walk the docks and swallow any pride you have and just walk around and beg people, basically.
I love it. Well, I gotta say, I am so happy we had you on the podcast today. I don't want to keep you much longer. I know it's late where you are, so thank you for staying up and chatting with us. And hopefully Hollywood Raw will get so big one day that we get to do a live broadcast from a boat in the middle of the Mediterranean, because that really sounds epic. No, but thank you so much for joining us. And I think my favorite part about this whole episode is your accent and hearing it sound like you're saying below dick the whole time. It's been awesome.
I know. Sometimes when I tell Americans that I'm on below deck, you've got to tell them that it's not like a softcore porno. Like, I'm not blowing anyone. I'm working on the deck. Okay?
I have to admit, the first 3 times you said it, I had to like refrain from laughing because it made me laugh. But I love your accent. It's awesome. You have been wonderful and just so damn entertaining. So I'm hoping we can have you back at some point, let you go out, do your adventures, and come back and chat with us maybe in like a year from now.
When you're hosting a show.
I love that. I honestly have had such a nice time. So thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
She's a lot of fun.
She was fun, dude. She's got a crazy personality. I didn't know her full storyline. I've seen her on the show before. She's super entertaining, but like getting to actually spend like one-on-one time with her, like I had a great time. That was a fun interview. I love that she like didn't hold back from all her wild stories, because trust me, there's a lot of people that would come on our podcast that would have all those stories going on in the back of their head, but would never say half of them. Yeah,
she's just like got good. She has like spunk. Like it's just like
and I think that's why she's become a fan favorite.
Yeah.
People like her because she's real.
But it's not like being like outrageously real. She's just like, that's how I would talk to my buddies. Like, like that's just how we talk, like normal. It's not even talking shit or like, again, on this podcast, we say reveal the fourth wall, but it's like, it's just be blunt about what happens. It doesn't have to be all dark stuff, but obviously some dark stuff does come up from time to time, and it's funny. It's interesting. I
still want to know if she's making over $100,000 though on Cameo.
I want to know if she's making over $200,000 total.
I'm curious.
Yeah, like I
next time, next year when we get her back on.
I just want to know how much Bravo actually pays, like how it works. Like, if you do another season, is it double pay? Do you get like a 20% increase?
I think that when you get to like 3 seasons and you become a cast member that is not replaceable, that's when the real money starts coming in. I think for the first 2, 3, 4 seasons, you're not getting a lot. They're banking more on the fact that you want to be on reality TV. It's changing your life. But once you really get like the power in your hands and you become a Nene Leakes or you become a Bethany, that's when the paychecks are like, oh, okay, now I can demand $1 million a season because you need me for ratings.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happened. That's what Craig said. Craig from Southern Charm said when he came on our show. Like, he was not really making money until the 3rd season. That's when like things started to change in his career.
That's really common for a lot of shows. people don't make money until like season 3. A lot of deals are like 3-year deals with TV shows. So they sign a contract for 3 years. It's got like whatever your standard 3%, 5% raise each year. And then on that 3rd year, if the show's crazy successful and you're doing well and you have to renegotiate at this point, that's when it opens up and you can make big bucks.
Sheesh. Well, hope she does well. She's really cool. Thank you guys for listening. Yeah, man. Check us out on Instagram at Hollywood Raw Pod. We're also on Facebook. We're on TikTok. We have a private Facebook group called Off the Record where we kind of we all just answer your questions, but you guys also talk to each other, and it's a place for us to kind of
community now.
It really is. It is a
it's
community.
Like friends, and now I'm seeing people like chat with each other and like, oh, did you guys hear this? Or just reply off on some of our podcasts and like communicate about an episode or something dumb we said or something we should have said. I love when you guys call me out like, oh, you forgot this and you didn't mention this. Like, I appreciate it. I read all this stuff. So I really am enjoying this Off the Record Facebook group.
Yeah, we just have a really good community. It's not about us. It's about all of us. It's really cool. So check that out. Follow me at Adam Glyn. Follow Dax Holt at Dax Holt.
And go leave us reviews, please. We need them bad on iTunes.
Yes,
go to
please.
iTunes, go to our page. If you haven't been there and you like our show, just head on over there, scroll to the bottom of our iTunes page, leave a review, 5 stars, some kind of comment, and don't forget to put your name in the comments so when I read it at the top of the show, I can read your actual name, not just some crazy, title you've been given thanks to iTunes.
Yes. And last but not last, bye. I don't know.
What do you mean last by?
I don't know. When am I supposed to end this shit?
Guys, he's delirious.
It's late. It's
right
really
now.
late here, and I'm shot. But it's okay because I enjoy you guys. So thank you guys for listening. Talk to you guys later. What's up, guys? If you like that video, there's plenty more where that came from.
Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so we can just feed you all the goodness daily.
Hurry up. Come on. Let's go.